He had only taken a single sip of tap water that hadn't been boiled, and just like that, he was gone. The woman beside him instinctively reached for the tap to rinse her mouth, then remembered in an instant that the water was the source of everything. The three of them tried to run. They'd barely made it out the door when the girl in the short skirt began to feel it too. Her left leg detonated first, then her stomach swelled as if something were forcing its way out, and before the others could do anything, she crumbled to dust as well. Sophie begged one of the remaining two to strangle her. By the time it was over, she was the only one left. When the last of them had disintegrated, an hourglass that had been broken began turning again on its own. And then, one by one, everyone who had just been obliterated came back intact, carrying the full memory of how they had died. This was the loop they were trapped in: die, revive, die again, until the long night finally ended. Each cycle of death left the body a little more degraded, pushing the survivors closer to something monstrous. Only by enduring until dawn could they hope to walk out alive. Sophie had come to this valley to find her sister, who had gone missing. She'd brought 4 close friends, and their only lead was the last location her sister had checked in from online. The background in the video matched the interior of a small shop, so Sophie went in under the pretense of buying something and asked the shopkeeper whether he'd seen her. The man answered as though the question barely surprised him, then mentioned a valley nearby. They went without hesitation. The moment they turned into the valley, the sky opened up. Rain came down in sheets so dense that Wallace, who was driving, could barely see the road. Instead of pulling over, they decided to reverse back out, and the car burst through the edge of the downpour and rolled to a stop on a patch of dry ground. Behind them, the rain hung in the air like a wall, blocked by some invisible barrier that divided storm from stillness. Their phones lost signal. Ahead of them stood a villa. The group decided to investigate while Sophie stayed behind to watch the strange atmospheric phenomenon up close. Inside, they called out and got no answer. The furnishings looked like they belonged to another era. The calendar on the table was still open to 1998. A massive hourglass dominated one wall, and the sight of it felt like a warning. Wallace filmed everything on his phone, then turned to find an entire wall covered in missing persons notices, photographs with no useful information beneath them. Among the faces was Sophie's sister. Outside, Yuting found a logbook on a table filled with names, including Sophie's sister's. One name had been entered 13 times. Meanwhile, Sophie was still outside. She thought she glimpsed the shape of her sister moving through the rain and walked toward it without stopping to think. She went deeper and deeper until the figure vanished, and when she finally stopped, something enormous reached toward her from behind. She pulled back just in time and retreated to the clearing, where she found that night had fallen completely. The group gathered and compared what they'd each experienced. Sophie, having read the logbook, was certain her sister had encountered something terrible here. They agreed the sensible thing was to leave and go to the police, but before anyone could move, Yuting looked up and saw that the hourglass had flipped. At the same moment, an engine started outside. They ran out to find Wallace's car being driven into the rain by someone who clearly didn't want them to leave. They retreated back into the villa without a word. With no phone signal, they searched for a landline. Yuting and Wallace kept watch on the ground floor while the others went to the basement. Sophie found an old rotary phone in a corner, but the line was dead. Upstairs, Wallace heard a strange noise from another room and went to check it. The noise happened again. Yuting mustered her nerve and followed. She heard water running and then screamed. Dex told the two women to stay put and crept upstairs to see what had happened. He found Yuting's body. Standing over it was a man in a mask. Dex ran back down and told everyone to hide. Two of